Hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. It was a flat start to the budget week with the Sensex and the Nifty consolidating. The interesting trend here was that the telecom stocks actually took the Nifty out of the negative zone at one point of the day when you had the Idea Vodafone merger announcement, merger talk announcements coming in. However, that gain could not be sustained on account of the negative market breadth with two losers for every single gainer, and that dragged the index lower. So you had 8 points lower closing on the Nifty index at 8632. The weaker European markets also adding to the pressure. But with range bound indices, not much to take away from the derivatives market.
Certainly not, because turnovers were low as well, and what's really happened is that we've seen more or less consolidation towards both the levels on either side of where the Nifty has closed today. But let's take a look at what's happened in the options market. So as I was saying, we have seen further writing when it comes to the 8,500 put and the 8,900 and the 9,000 calls. So we are looking at more of a range building up, and that also brings me to the maximum open interest that also continues to remain between the 8,500 call and the 9,000 option. So that is a 500 point range, very broadly speaking. Of course, remember, we will be expecting some amount of volatility to come in as well, even as we move into this budget.
That's correct, Agam. But the story of the day clearly was Vodafone and Idea confirming that their talks for merger are on.
Right. So, and I'm sure on the back of that, we have seen substantial gains, at least in Idea, which has been followed by Bharti Airtel.
Absolutely. Agam, if you look at the stock reaction, Idea ran up as much as 29%, which is the most on record. Even Aditya Birla Group stocks like Grasim and Aditya Birla Nuo Limited rallied as much as 8% after Vodafone confirmed it was in merger talks with Idea. Both of these Aditya Birla Group stocks hold stakes in Idea. But that apart, you also saw other telecom stocks like Reliance Communications, MTNL, TTML, Bharti Airtel. All of these also rallied anyway between 2 to 11%, because consolidation, of course, spells good news for the industry, which is already reeling under pricing pressure and competitive intensity. Plus, you had a big demonetization hit coming as far as Bharti Airtel numbers were concerned.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to Tech Mahindra, 4% dollar revenue growth accompanied by expanding margins.
Yes, and it has beaten street expectations as well. We were expecting a strong quarter for Tech Mahindra, but once again they have come ahead of what the street was working with. Reasons behind this is, firstly, we have its acquisition it's made in last May, Target, which has contributed substantially to revenues. Its old acquisition, that is Lightbridge Communications, has also started to see signs of revival. When it comes to the margins expansion, well, that is of course of high utilization levels. You've also seen that on account of course, Target also playing out, and that's also the reason why we are looking at a 31% sequential growth in the bottom line. So it's all in all, it certainly is a very good quarter for Tech Mahindra.
And in fact, Agam, that has been the trend in Q3 for IT companies. Profit beat. This is what we've seen in the case of Infosys, TCS, Wipro and HCL Tech as well. So things are not as bad as IT analysts have been expecting, of course, in the backdrop of what happens in US and your visa wage hikes. That apart, you also had Grasim reporting numbers again, profits meeting estimates, growing at about 22% over last year's comparable quarter as costs remain under control. HDFC beat street estimates by about 1.5%, 11% profit growth, and a marginal 5 basis points rise in the gross NPAs on a sequential basis. That apart, of course, you had the telecom stocks steal the show as far as Nifty gainers are concerned. Idea, Bharti Airtel, both of them seeing strong gains. On the other hand, Bharti Infratel lost as much as 7%. Now, Bharti Infratel provides tower services, so consolidation means lower tenancy revenues for the company. Aurobindo Pharma, Tata Motors and Tata Steel were amongst the other top losers.
Well, when it comes to the broader markets, we are roughly looking at about 2 gainers for 3 losers today. Let's start off with the losers. We've seen more, declines on Swan Energy, which has moved down by as much as 11%. We're looking at Bharti Infratel retreating by as much as 7%, followed by City Union Bank, Bhushan Steel as well as State Trading Corporation, all of which are losing anywhere between 4 to 5%. Of course, RCOM has caught up, nearly up, must 12%, followed by Reliance Defence, and Sundaram Finance, Bajaj Finance, of course, also reacting to its earnings, followed by McLeod Russell, all of which are gaining about 5%. But on the whole, well, it's not really, at least in terms of turnovers, we really haven't seen too much of activity when it comes to the broader markets either. But what are we keeping an eye on as far as tomorrow goes?
Agam, again, yet another day of big earnings as far as the markets are concerned, and before we head into the Union Budget 2017-18 days. So ICICI Bank, Bajaj Auto and ONGC are amongst the Nifty companies which are reporting their earnings tomorrow, so we'll be keeping an eye on them. With that, we wrap today's edition. Thank you so much for watching Bloomberg.